So for myself, I've been with the association for a little bit over a year, but prior to this, I worked for Hawaii Care Choices. That's a hospice provider here in East Hawaii. And before that, I was with the Hawaii County Office of Aging for almost 10 years exactly to the day. So, I've been working with the association for only a year, but over my time, in the field, I've been working with families, caregivers affected by Alzheimer's and dementia for that whole time. And personally, I had a grandfather who had Alzheimer's in his final years. My dad's mom had dementia in her final years, and my grandmother, she just made 97 the other week. She's still with us today in Hilo, and she is living with dementia as well. So uh, I think if you add my professional and my personal experience, that's 50 years of experience. But anyway, um, so I'm so excited to be here today, just talking about how we can be healthier. Uh, Use the chat function today if you have any questions. I know we have kind of a big group, so we'll see how it goes. Maybe later on we will have time later on to do question and answers. So you can either save those or throw them in the chat as they come along. If something does come up though throughout the presentation, feel free to, you know, um, put it in the chat and we can answer that as they come in. All right, so let me start sharing my slides. All right, thumbs up if somebody can see my slides, or hopefully everybody, but thumbs up if you can. For those of you who aren't familiar with Zoom, feel free to click around because there's a lot going on there. All right, thanks for the thumbs up there. Appreciate it. All right, hey, there's some Zoom people. They know how to do it. All right, so we are again here to learn about healthy living for your brain and body. So this program is really, not exactly, all about Alzheimer's disease. Of course, we will be touching on that throughout the presentation, but it is in general a really good program that really just helps healthy individuals look for ways to age well. If you have concerns about memory, of course, or Alzheimer's disease, of course, you can contact myself or anybody at the association. I have a hand up. I'm not sure if you have a question, but if you'd like to ask your question, Florence, go ahead and put that in the chat. Or you're not sure if that was your thumbs up. Okay. And all right. So again, this is a program for not just folks with Alzheimer's disease, but anybody who is just looking for ways to age well. And I think if you are like me, and I think everybody wants to age well, right? So today we'll talk a little bit about taking care of yourself in general as we age, because we can't get away from that piece. And we'll talk about some strategies for aging well in the areas here on the slide. So physical health and exercise. Guess what? We'll never get away from that. Diet and nutrition, which again, so excited to have Sarah with us today. And then we'll also talk about cognitive activity as well as social engagement. So let's get started. One of the things that I do have for you folks is a handout. What I'll do is after this program, I will be sending out a follow-up email with a lot of additional information from today's presentation, as well as from Sarah from Hui Malama. So make sure you look for that after this. So let's get started. So aging, first of all, in general, aging well depends on a few things: your genes, your environment, pretty obvious stuff, but lifestyle choices, that's one thing that we're going to really focus on today and look at how that keeps your body and brain healthy. I think that we all have some things in common, that as we age, the color of your hair, I have the little balding spot now, but those kinds of things are kind of out of our control. But there are many aspects of aging that we do have some degree of control over, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And these talk about, we're going to talk about lifestyle things, environmental things, but there are, families who do have genetic prepositions. I'm not going to go too far into that today. We do have another presentation that speaks a little bit more about that. But really, we'll focus on the lifestyle and environment. So first, let's talk a little bit about how the brain works. So of course, this is our control center of our bodies. If you didn't realize, that's where things kind of your body gets your commands from, controls all of our bodily functions, our thoughts, our movements. In our brains, we have over 100 billion nerve cells, and those are called neurons. So these look like trees. There's a picture on the next slide that you can kind of see what it looks like. And basically, these trees are a network of pathways through which we receive and send electrochemical signals. And these are our thoughts and our feelings and our memories. So in Alzheimer's disease, actually what happens is these brain cells are progressively destroyed. And as it moves throughout the brain, it affects the different parts of our functioning. So here's that picture of that neuron tree. And you can see kind of the image there of our thoughts kind of firing across there. Of course, the heart and the brain are connected. So, this is where protecting your heart really can help you protect your brain as well. So we've known that the body is connected to your brain. Haha, I didn't think we needed a research on that, but in general, what's good for your body is good for your brain. So science now tells us a lot about how this is true, and talks a lot about now what we can do to maximize our health to help our brain body connection. So interesting fact here, 25% of the blood from every one of our heartbeats goes to your brain. So really, really important there to have oxygen go to our brain. And so this is why, in very general terms, it is really important for us to keep our bodies working so that our brain keeps working as well. All right, so Alzheimer's and dementia, one of the most popular questions we get is what is the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia? So dementia is the umbrella term for different diseases that are not a part of normal aging. And these diseases really are about, they change the brain in a way that affects memory, thinking, and behavior. The reason why you hear Alzheimer's and dementia used interchangeably often is because Alzheimer's is the most common form. For all of the dementia diagnoses, it makes up about 80% of the diagnosis we know about. So risks for Alzheimer's and dementia, the biggest risk is age. So the older we get, the more at risk we are for getting dementia. There are current therapies as well, but these therapies do not treat, they're not any kind of cure. They don't slow the disease, but they can treat symptoms for some people. I do want to put a caveat in there for Aduhelm, or aducanumab, was a drug that the Federal Drug Administration approved this past summer, which is so exciting. It's different from the current treatments in that it actually works on the source of Alzheimer's disease. Now, it's not a cure by any means, but it is the first of its kind where it actually works with what's happening in the brain with Alzheimer's. So that's really exciting. The downside right now that the association is really pushing against is the cost. It is over $50,000 a year for treatment, so that's not cool. So we are happy to have that drug now being developed, but access to that is probably going to be pretty tough for most people. All right, so here is what we're going to talk about today. We'll be talking about these four aspects. We'll go through them all, and then we are going to focus the rest of today on our diet and nutrition. So I'm really excited about that part. So let's start, and we're going to start. We're going to start with physical health and exercise. So well, I think there's a lot of research going on in how physical activity really helps your brain. We know that it's good for other parts of your body, right? And so studies are indicating that engaging in physical activity is associated with cognitive decline. Okay. Not necessarily just Alzheimer's, but cognitive decline in general. Um, and so this researchers are saying that exercise, surprise, is good for your brain as it is for your body. So, really just looking at how exercise benefits your brain, because when you exercise, you're increasing your blood and oxygen flow, right? So just how we saw in a couple slides ago, how that the blood flow is helping your brain, when you exercise, put two and two together, that really makes sense, right? Also, of course, risks for dementia include things like high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol. When you exercise, helps those things as well. So you're looking at, all these ways that exercise can really help your body, really does help your brain age well as well. So there's no really a single way. I think people often look for, the easiest way to do it, but I don't think there is. But I think some tips here really just start with something you like. I know that a lot of my friends got into CrossFitting, and yeah, no, that's not for me. I'm not going to be swinging around on bars and lifting tractor tires. That is not for me. Um, so it wouldn't be something that I would do. But really, just think of something you like. Start out small. I think people, don't realize how just walking around your neighborhood a few times a week can be really helpful. Um, One thing that I try to do sometimes is I park farther than the closest stall, even just little things like that, right? All of these little changes can add up and have really big health benefits for you. So just even it can be 20 to 30 minutes walking a few times a week, things like that. Okay. The key here is cardiovascular activity that again helps with the blood flow to your brain. And I will send a link to you folks after this presentation from the Centers for Disease Control. They have developed a physical activities guidelines that you can take a look at. Of course, be safe and speak to your doctor if you have any questions about, if you're going to join CrossFit and you've never done anything of that type before, you might want to figure out if you are able to do it or not. But again, here's some tips here that you can apply when you are looking for physical health and physical exercise activities. Also, though, there are some things you could stop doing that can also help your risk of cognitive decline, which pretty obvious list here, but smoking, avoid excess alcohol. I know that a lot of studies now are showing how maybe a glass or two of red wine will, is beneficial to your health. I'll let Sarah touch on that if she'd like later. But this is not where you're going to rush out now and buy, I know that right now it's kind of, they put those little cute little displays for the holidays, right? And of course they put the pretty packaged wine there and champagne. This is not the time to just go out there and say, well, there's a healthy link there, so I'm going to go out and start drinking. Yeah, no, that's not how that works. But in general, you're going to avoid excess alcohol, and maybe Sarah, you can talk about that when you come up to tell us a little bit about what that looks like, excess versus a little versus some versus healthy. Um, of course, avoid head injury, stress. That's a huge one, and sleep. Actually, getting enough sleep is really important for your memory and your thinking. Of course, head injuries. You want to avoid those. And studies have actually found that physical activity decreases your stress levels, increases your ability to manage stress, and helps with your mood overall. So, when I think about me being a grouchy person, if I'm having a bad day, I think, when was the last time I actually went to exercise? And then I go back to being grouchy. But but the point here is really, there are some small things you can do to really help your body be healthier and again, your brain be healthier. Of course, I want to make sure that you know about your health. So especially these things here, blood pressure, blood sugar, and so forth, make sure that, if you are having a little bit of challenges in these areas, you probably want to, or I suggest you speak with your physician about that to make sure that it's safe for you to, start doing certain things. Um, you know, when research looks at things like the risk of heart disease, that increases the risk for stroke, which also increases the risk for dementia, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity. All of those things are, again, bad for your body, right? So it's bad for your brain. So a lot of research coming out on that as well. A couple of specific things. Diabetes has been shown to be linked with cognitive decline and dementia, as well as obesity in your midlife. Now, you define midlife how you'd like. I don't want to get in trouble there. But if I look at a lifespan of 80 years or 90 years, I'm in the midlife. So, obesity later in life does show an increased risk for dementia. Hypertension, especially in the later life parts of your life, also um, increase the risk for cognitive decline. So pretty obvious stuff, right? If it's bad for you in general, it's probably going to be bad for your brain. All right, so I'm going to go quickly through diet and nutrition because we have our incredible Sarah Josef today to talk a lot more about that. But what I do want to say is, of course, fueling our body with healthy foods can really help with our brain function. Two diets in specific we see come out in research as being beneficial. That is the DASH diet and the Mediterranean diet. So DASH stands for dietary approaches. I think dietary approaches to stop hypertension. So it was designed for hypertension or blood pressure. And the Mediterranean diet really just focuses on, has been shown to reduce risk of death from heart disease, from cancers, also incidences of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease. So, of course, Mediterranean is that beautiful area around Europe. And so, of course, the way that a lot of those countries cooked, those diets have been shown to be really helpful. And, I'll let Sarah share a little bit more about that. And what we can do in general, again, really quickly, here are some tips, and Sarah will go into much more detail. She knows way much more about this than my little slide here, so I will save that for her. But some of these things shouldn't be too surprising. I will point out the first one there, eat more vegetables. Um, some kids I don't think ever get used to the vegetables. So, but never too late to start. So there are some simple ways to really adopt a healthy diet. And again, Sarah is here with us today, so I won't say too much more about that. Let's move on to cognitive activity. So cognitive activities, what this is really about keeping our minds active. Um, when you use your mind to do something that's challenging, your brain actually starts to nourish the pathways, as we saw those branches, right? When you do cognitive activities, it really does help to build those connections among your brain cells. And we call this building a cognitive reserve. And so there are a couple of things you can do to really help build that cognitive reserve. So some studies show that people who engage in cognitive activities by playing games or just reading challenging material, so things you may be not familiar with, they kept their brain active and they could recall information that was recently learned a lot better. They could remember a lot more about it in detail than those who didn't keep their mind stimulated with mental activity. Also, formal education, so classroom-based learning, with professional trained teachers, whether it be college classes or just classes by arrange organized classes can really help your brain stay healthy and protect your brain from developing dementia. And so that's makes me feel a lot better about my finishing my doctorate next year. And this is one of the reasons, even though it doesn't feel like my brain's getting healthier, it feels like it's getting damaged. But just really, when you just challenge your brain to new thinking, to new processes, that's really where you're helping to build a little bit more resilience there in your brain. So we can see some examples here. So reading books and articles that are challenging. So not the kind that you've read 5 times or your favorite magazine, whatever. So pick an article about something you're not familiar about and learn a little bit more about something new. Puzzles and games, of course, as long as they're challenging to you, if you're used to doing a 500-piece puzzle and you can do it very easily, go for that 1,000 or that 2,000-piece puzzle. Um, a new skill or hobby can be something you can do as well. And again, ongoing learning, whether it's through college or, because especially the community colleges have a lot of cool classes. Or I know Hui Malama Ola na Oiwi, which Sarah will share about, does educational classes as well. Coming to learn from me is also a class. Or you could also just join a club and just just socializing, which is our next part here. And this is where, social engagement is really important. Now, there's not a lot of research done in this area yet, but what research does show us is that connecting with others socially can benefit your brain health and actually help with delaying dementia onset. You know, and actually, research also shows that when people are socially connected and engaged, their mortality rate, disability rates go down as well. So again, looking at how helping your body as a holistic machine really does help your brain health as well, right? Um, Also, just I think we see a lot of research about just how people, the parts of the brain that are used to maintain friendships and connect with others, that seems to be helping build a buffer. But in general, working in the field of aging for 12 years, I see people who are in isolation, and studies show that isolation really is not healthy for people. Generally, when somebody is isolated, they tend to just kind of go down. So, just kind of looking at that, just staying connected. Now, if you're like some people who just, maybe you're not sociable, this doesn't mean you have to go out and party all the time, right? There's so many ways you can connect with others. But really, the key here is really choose something that's meaningful to you, right? Like, for example, I'm not going to join a romantic novel book club because I will probably damage my brain cells just trying to get through that because that is not my thing. So I think that's a really, really important piece there when you're looking at any of these areas. Pick something that you want to do, right? Pick something that's meaningful to you. Um, but again, try stuff that's new. You never know if it's not meaningful you or not, right? If you don't try it. So, but definitely explore there. Um, but really just finding purpose in your life. I think the Japanese word they use, ikigai, right? And finding an activity or a connection that gives your life a sense of just meaning. I think those are really important things. So pretty simple things, right? Even if it's just hanging out with people, make sure they're good ones, hanging out with good friends and family, engage with others, volunteer, um, join a group or club. So many different ways you can do that. We do have a support group as well, which, it's focused on caregivers, but even that, connecting with others through a common, story or a common thread, really important. All right, so here we have it, right? These four areas. I went through that really quickly on the slides. I actually gave you folks the handouts that are from my full-length presentation, so read through that. I will send out some more information after this presentation about some of these things about brain health, and I will also send you that link to CDC in case you want to check those out. But the goal here is really to look at these four pieces of this plate here and make sure that you're choosing things in each of the areas to really help you, again, be healthier overall, but keeping your brain healthy. Yeah. Um, so with that said, I have a couple minutes. If you want to ask any questions, feel free to put it in the chat there, or I'm not sure if you guys, I muted everybody, but you can feel free to take yourself off of mute if you'd like. Any questions? If not, we can move on. And okay, I don't see any questions, so that's cool. Um, But really, I think one of the things I want you to know is that the Alzheimer's Association, this is just one of the programs that we offer, Healthy Living for Your Brain and Body, but there are many other educational programs that our team offers pretty much throughout the year. And again, like we said, right, learning of new things can be really helpful, and not just for your brain health, but if you are living with somebody with Alzheimer's, or if you yourself has the diagnosis, definitely, our just learning about it can be a huge first step. So in addition to the education classes that we provide, we also provide support groups. Now, I run two support groups for Hawaii Island folks. I will send information about our support groups, which also includes the ones for the other islands. Right now, they're all still virtual, but very soon we will be trying to figure out how to start doing them in person again. One resource I do want to point out here on the slide is the 24/7 helpline. That is incredible because it is literally every hour of every day, even throughout holidays. There's no holidays for them. Not saying that they're just like, that sounded really bad. They're not just sitting in a room forever, but the crew is, mostly in the mainland, but there are people living across the United States, really just there to help answer any questions like, what is dementia, what is Alzheimer's, or, because I will share this, that there are staff on the helpline that are master's level clinicians. So if you are having a really tough time, let's say you're a caregiver and you're just over it because you had a really rough day, you spent hours taking care of dad and it's just like too much, you can definitely call them. They are there to help you with those kinds of emotional support services as well. A lot of times what happens is they will help you out and connect you to your local chapter. You have my email now, since I emailed all of you, and I will after this again. You can contact me directly, or you can contact me if you are on another island. I can connect you to your person. The reason why that's important is because we are, like, for example, I'm quite familiar with what the service system is like here on Hawaii Island. I'm not too sure about the other islands, so that's why still important to have a contact in every county. So if you need help getting connected to somebody in your area, please let me know. I can also connect you to your chapter if you are not in Hawaii. So just know that there are many chapters across the states. Our community resource finder online, it is not very updated for Hawaii Island, I will say that. So, but take a look at it. You can look for services from the association as well as just in general. So that's a pretty cool one if you're into just kind of searching on your own. Owls Connected, that's a really cool resource for people who just want to connect with other people. It's kind of like a message board. You can connect with other caregivers, with other people who have the diagnosis, and just really ask questions and have dialogue with others, and maybe in a similar journey as you. Really, really cool. So basically, it's almost like a social media type of thing where you make an account and just participate in discussion there. And Alzheimer's Navigator, what that is a lot of times when people first learn about their diagnosis, they have so many questions and, so much information. Alzheimer's Navigator helps build a customized care plan for yourself and just kind of helps you keep track of what steps you want to take and will take and do take as you navigate. Para. navigate the diagnosis. So I do have a question here. The question is, are there any medications to slow dementia that are available and, for example, affordable? So right now, the 5 medications that are currently used are not they're not a cure, and they do not slow the progression of dementia or Alzheimer's. What they do is they help with the symptoms in some people. The one drug that I did mention that just got approved by the Federal Drug Administration in June, it is the first of its kind. It's still not a cure, but it does actually work on the parts of the brain, like, so we saw that branch, right? In Alzheimer's, you have these protein buildups and they harden and it becomes like a plaque, and we call it plaques and tangles. So without getting too technical, those are the things that are blocking the signals in the brain. This new drug actually works on those pieces. So again, it's not a cure, but it has shown to help some people. Now, the problem with it, of course, is yes, the price. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking really fast. I'm trying to get for you old folks. Sorry about that. I'm trying to make my time. So that drug is not right now, not, it's not accessible yet. But when it does become accessible, that one is going to be, we'll see how it goes. It's still really new. And again, it is very expensive. So the association, although we pushed for this development, we're really trying to make sure that it is accessible to folks. So stay tuned for that. As far as the other existing drugs right now, those are pretty regularly used in people with dementia if the doctor feels that it will help. Most of the times those are most helpful early on in the progression of the disease. So if you're not familiar with Alzheimer's disease, it is a progressive disease that over time, you will see that decline. Yeah, so the drugs, as far as medications, those are the 5 that are currently used are just for symptoms. So nothing right now to slow the actual dementia. Any other questions? Yeah, I'm sorry about, I'm trying to get through my part so I can get to the cool part. All right. So feel free to keep asking questions throughout. You can go ahead and use the chat. But I'm really excited now to turn it over to my friend Sarah Josef. Sarah, are you with us on your, let's see. I'm going to stop sharing my slides here. All right, Sarah, hello, are you there?
Hello, aloha.
Aloha, Sarah. Okay, so Sarah is, I'll let you introduce yourself, but Sarah is from Hui Malama Ola na Oiwi. We're so excited to have her today. And her crew there, Kat and Uilani, helping. As you can see, she has her little setup there. It's like Food Network going on in there.
Well, I did bring my household, my kitchen, and I have some great support from Ui and Kat. And they set this up very lovely and brought some of the things from their garden and their kitchens as well. So anyway,
awesome.
It's my privilege to be here. And what I'm going to do is just start my PowerPoint presentation. So what is going to happen today is I am going to present some information. My focus is really about nourishing the caregiver because it's National Caregiver Month. And we all know that the caregivers really need good nourishment, right? Yeah. And so what is going to happen, an overview of what's going to happen today is that I'm going to talk to you about things to do, things not to do. And then I'm going to do some demonstrations. I'm going to do a demonstration on overnight oats and a really quick salad and just quick prep for salad. And then I'm also going to then show a lot of things that I brought from my kitchen. So we're going to go over healthy snacks and just some quick food. So the emphasis today is really, well, how can you get some good nourishment quickly and easily? Because most people don't have a lot of energy left over, right? Yeah, and I do want to say, I want to build on what Nick said. And as Nick is talking about, whatever is good for the heart is good for the brain. Well, whatever is good for your gut is also really good for your brain. They are connected by the vagus nerve. And so if you treat your gut well, your gut is happy, your brain is also going to be happy. So, all right. I'm going to start with reasons to nourish yourself well. And we all know that caregivers generally care about others before they care about themselves, right? So that's just the way it goes. The better the caregiver, it seems like the worse they are at their self-care. And why is that? It's because they're tired and overwhelmed and everything. So good nutrition can really help you feel better and have more energy throughout the day. And that is really the goal. And good nutrition can give you just that wonderful feeling of vitality all through the day. It also is going to help your immune system, and you're going to ward off illnesses, different viruses and bacteria. We're entering flu season right now. And of course, we still have COVID around. Yeah. It also, as I said, whatever is good for the gut is good for the brain. And so the brain chemistry responds to good nutrition. You have less depression, less anxiety, and less feeling of overwhelm. And the research supports all that. And so that then leads to having a little bit more confidence, a little better sense of well-being, and being able to cope yourself with difficult situations. I mean, let's face it, if you're a caregiver, you have difficult situations come up frequently. Yeah. And so the better able you are to feel good and strong, the better able you're going to be able to take care of somebody else, you know, with kindness and with a smile. And that is really what you want. So moving along. We're going to focus on energy robbers and energy promoters. So energy robbers. Okay, these are the things that suck that energy right away from you. So sugar, right? Sugar. And if you're tired and overwhelmed, the tendency is to go right for the sugar, right? But what does the sugar do? Eat that candy bar, shoot your blood sugar up really high, and then within about a half hour, it sinks low. If you have diabetes, it might shoot it high and keep it high, and then you're going to feel lethargic and tired. And whenever you see a couch or a chair, you're just going to want to sit in it, right? Sugar is the enemy of energy. So I have 3 categories: sugary beverages. In this day and age, we are drinking more sugar than ever before. It's in those coffee drinks, the tea drinks, the sodas, the juice drinks, right? And so they are not going to really support energy. Munching on cookies and pastries, right? That afternoon cup of coffee or tea with a cookie or pastry. Moderation, moderation. But when that's your only nourishment as a snack, not so good. And of course, candy, pure sugar and fat. The other is high-fat diet. So a high-fat diet, and so what is that? That's going to be above 30% of calories. You say, well, I don't know. What does that mean? So of a 2,000 calorie diet, and all the food labels are based on 2,000 calories, it's going to be 67 grams. And you say, well, so what? I still don't know what that means. So this is an example. A lunch or a dinner of a double cheeseburger is going to be 25 grams of fat. Add in large fries, that's going to be 30 grams, for a total of 55 grams. 55 grams in that lunch or dinner, when the total for good health should be 67. Wow, right? Wow. And then let's talk about the kind of fat. That often that's going to get what you're going to get in a cheeseburger, you're going to get saturated fat, right? Saturated fat, which is solid at room temperature, which tends to clog the arteries. It's the one that promotes heart disease. There are fats that are better than others. Plant fats. So the oils, the olive oils, the avocado oil, canola oil, those are liquid at room temperature. Those are much better. They keep your arteries, the interior of your arteries, flexible so that they can pump the blood, keep your blood pressure lower. Okay, I know I'm talking really fast, but I'm eager to get to the demonstration myself. Okay, skipping meals, That is really typical of caregivers. They get up, they're taking care of somebody, they forget to have breakfast, or maybe they have a little breakfast, they forget to have lunch. That is the worst possible thing you could do for your energy level. You're going to be drained and your body's going to have to work really hard to keep you going. And if you skip a meal, that's going to lead to the next one, which is overeating. And overeating, when does that happen usually? Well, we're usually not skipping dinner. We're usually skipping breakfast and lunch. And so mid-afternoon, or to the point where you get to dinner, your body is raging with hunger. And physiologically, all the cues are turned on, the sense of smell, the taste buds, the enzymes are gurgling in the stomach. And you sit down to that dinner meal, you're going to eat fast and you're going to keep eating. You won't be able to stop. And that can continue on through the night, right? Just dinner slides into snacking, and then suddenly there you are going to bed on a full stomach. And so the point about that is, let me go back with fat as well. So overeating and fat, both of those. So fat is hard to digest. It takes the most enzymes. It takes the longest time to digest. So body has to work really hard. So if you're eating a high fat diet, then guess what? All your energy is going to digestion rather than your ability to move around and think clearly. So, and overeating, it's the same way. You know, you enter the evening full, your body's just working hard to digest all night long. Guess what? You get up and you're not hungry. Gee, I'm not hungry in the morning. Well, I wonder why, you know. So the point is, you know, have a little small frequent meals, basically. So, and lack of activity. So as Nick said, you know, activity, it's kind of use it or lose it, right? So our body likes to move, you know, keeping your muscular up, getting good oxygen into the lungs. You know, movement produces more ability to move, and inactivity goes that same way, right? It's going to actually rob you of energy. So, okay, so those are all the robbers. Let's get to the good part. Let's get to the energy promoters. There we are. Yay. Our energy promoters. Okay, so I'm going to talk about these things and you're going to say, well, great. That's so great to provide a list. Isn't that nice? But how are we going to make these things happen? So I'm going to bring in the how. All right. So the first one, starting your day with water, because our whole body is, you know, we're 60% or more of water. Everything happens in the body, all activities, all cellular activity, metabolism, everything happens in a medium of water, right? So if you're well nourished, then your body can hum, right? It can just hum through the day, right? But if you're dehydrated, you're going to feel a little fuzzy and all of that, okay? And minimum 64 ounces, you know, certainly your size makes a difference, but 64 ounces a day, yeah. So how are you going to do that? What if, you know, this is your issue? I don't know how to drink enough water. Okay, so a couple things. The phone. Your phone alarm. All phones have alarms, right? So setting your phone alarm and saying, okay, I'm going to get in the habit of having a glass of water first thing in the morning. I'm going to get up and have water. And then I'm going to set my alarm, and I'm going to set my alarm for every hour or every 2 hours, whatever makes sense. And you're going to drink a glass of water and do that throughout the day. So using your alarm to remind you, right? So there's also, you could get, Miss Uilani brought in, and I'll show you later. I'll show it when we get through these slides. There are water bottles that are actually marked with times on them. And so you can fill it up and then you can drink depending on the time, and you'll be able to see when you skipped your water, yeah? Okay, the next is, rather than skipping meals, eating 3 or 4 smaller meals or snacks, right? Rather than 1 or 2. And that's going to keep your energy, you know, just nice and even. Our brain needs glucose to function. Our cells need glucose in order to do their job. So eating a little bit throughout the day. And you say, well, I forget, I get so busy. Same thing. Use your phone alarm. Use your phone alarm, right? Use your phone alarm. Absolutely. And set it for every 3 or 4 hours, whatever is reasonable, and have something available to eat. Have foods that are available. Eat when you're hungry, not starved, and stop when you're just full. You're like, okay. So if you're interested in that one, I teach a mindful eating class, and we actually learn how to do this in class. It sounds easy. It's actually, we have to relearn to get in touch with our bodily cues, but this is really, really important. And stopping till you're just full, you know, in the Japanese culture, they say stop at 80% full. And there's a word for that, and I don't remember the name for that. But anyway, you know, that is a really good habit. So how would you do that? I would say whatever your plate is, whatever you're taking, first of all, take a little bit less, not a lot, just a little, and then cut your plate in half and say, I'm going to take a breather at the halfway point, drink some water, talk to somebody, walk around, and then I'm going to check in and say, how full am I? Do I need to continue to eat? Snacking on healthy things like fruits and vegetables, where you got to have them around, or else you're not going to be snacking with them. And another how is have them already prepped and ready to go. Yeah. Okay. People say, well, okay, but you know, there's all this other stuff around because in the family. So, well, okay, ask them to put it away. Don't bring it in the house. It's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for anybody, right? So don't have it around, number one, or have it out of sight. Yeah. Skip the evening snack if you're not hungry, and do 30 minutes of physical activity daily. And you don't have to do that all at one time. You can do a little bit here, a little bit there, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. Just move. Yeah. You can make, if you're walking across the room, you're walking across through the house, you know, march around. And I'll show you when we get done with the slide. I mean, in my household, I'm kind of known as the crazy lady because I march around all the time. And they know me at work to do that as well. But you know, it's fun and it's contagious. And so just to say that it does not have to be a big chunk of time, does not have to do that at all. Okay, so now we're going to move on to nutrition to boost the immune system. And again, because it's flu season and we still have COVID around. And so what is the best diet? Well, I've looked at lots and lots and lots of research. I used to work in research, and guess what? Low-fat, plant-based diet is actually shown to be the best for the immune system, for the heart, for the brain, for all of that. And so what is a plant-based diet? It's 2/3 of your foods come from plants. So there is still room for animal foods, but most of it comes from plants. And so I'm going to read you this quote. Vegetarians have been shown to have more effective white blood cells, which produce antibodies to fight bacteria and virus invaders. And that's by the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, that actually your blood cells produce more antibodies. Okay, so what is a low-fat diet? Again, it's 30% or less come from fat, which is 67 grams, as we said. And if you remember that example I gave you about the burger, the double cheeseburger and the fries, most people are eating double to triple the amount. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to go through now and talk about the immune system, and then we'll get into the demonstrations. So the nutrients that support the immune system, of course, they're the vitamins, the major vitamins, A, C, D, and E. And what do? They are antioxidants. They decrease inflammation in the body. You say, well, what inflammation? Well, if you have chronic disease like diabetes or heart disease, and your body isn't functioning properly, there is inflammation from that. And so these help decrease that inflammation. And they increase disease-fighting white blood cells. Those are our friends, white blood cells. Yeah. Then we have our omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids. So These specifically target, they do a lot of other things, but they really target viral infections. And so I would really boost those right now with the COVID. And these are viral infections that affect respiratory system, which most flu does. And then zinc and iron as well, they promote prevention against chronic diseases like diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. Okay, so let's look at some of the pretty little nutrients. Let's just gonna do a quick run through because in the demo we will be actually looking and working with other ones. So vitamin A, let's take a look at vitamin A. And so when you think of vitamin A, there's a picture of a lovely carrot. You think of beta carotene, orange color, but vitamin A is in plenty of different vegetables and fruits. It is also in animal products. And it's actually pretty easy to get vitamin A, pretty easy to get. But you can see it's not all orange. Some of it is white like potatoes and some of it's green. Yep, but vitamin A is very easy to get. And notice it has our mango and papaya, which we have here. So, and okay. And our sweet potatoes as well, right? Yeah. All right. So let's move along. I'm going to go through this a little bit quickly, but vitamin C, everybody's like, yes, vitamin C. We think that fights colds. And we all think about vitamin C as the fighter, right? So look at that lovely dragon fruit, which is such a pretty plant, isn't it? I mean, just love that plant. But oranges, strawberries, kiwi, black currants, in plenty vegetables. I don't know if you knew that it was in cauliflower and it was also in potatoes, regular white potatoes, but vitamin C is actually plentiful in those. Okay, all right. And let's move along to our vitamin D. And vitamin D, most people think of dairy products, milk, that kind of thing. And it is in dairy products. It's also in salmon. And the vegetable is mushrooms. Okay, moving along to vitamin E. And vitamin E, when I think of vitamin E, I actually think of nuts and grains. Yep, yeah, okay. I got my team here and they're supporting. Okay, so when I think of vitamin E, I really think of nuts and almonds and peanuts, right? Almonds and peanuts, easy to get these days, but also the cereals, sunflower seeds, and there's our good old broccoli and spinach. So I want you to know that notice how often fish comes up in here, the nuts come up, and also broccoli, spinach. Just notice. So, okay, let's move along to the next one. Omega-3 fatty acids, they're called polyunsaturated fatty acids, so PUFAs, like that, the omega-3 PUFAs. Yeah, so our seeds, chia and flax, and look at that, also edamame. Did you know that? Not awesome. That's part of our culture here. And then it's also in walnuts. And when I think about a walnut, you know, if you look at you look at a walnut, it looks like a brain, right? So I always think of walnuts as brain food. So, okay. And then there's our zinc, and zinc again, flax, squash, peanuts, almonds, right? And green beans and kale. And then we have one more, and that's going to be our iron. And our iron is in dried apricots, especially. It's in any kind of dried fruit, really. Sunflower seeds. Look at that, spinach and kale. Wow. And then mollusks. So you say, what are mollusks, right? They're our clams and our scallops and those kinds of things, or even snails. If you eat snails, you may or may not, but yeah. And then whole grain cereals. Okay, excellent. And so then the next slide is the power boosters. So this slide of all, if you say, well, gosh, there's all this information, you know, this is supposed to be quick and easy. I would say focus on this one. if you're saying, you know I don't get enough, focus on the power boosters, right? And work from this list here. And so there's fruits and vegetables. Most of those are pretty easy to get, right? Look at our pineapples there, and our berries and our oranges, right? And our carrots. There's our broccoli and cauliflower again, and bell peppers, and our almonds and walnuts, right? Yeah. But then you see a list of herbs, with ginger, garlic, turmeric, and there's green tea. And what I say, if you say, well, I don't know, gosh, I don't eat ginger every day. Well, drink it then, turn it into a tea. Yeah. Ginger and turmeric tea, right? Add it to the green tea, mamaki tea. Drink it. It's so easy. You don't just clean it, smash it up, cut it a little bit, put it in some boiling water, steep it for a while, and drink it. And drink that every day. And you're getting a lot of rich nutrients. So, yay. I know I'm talking fast because I'm going to get to the best part, and I'm at the best part right now, which is we are going to talk about quick and easy tips. And I'm going to start some demonstrations. And so what am I going to demo today? We're going to get real practical. Okay. So Miss Kathleen, might I have the next one, please? Just going to tell you when I'm what we're going to demo. That's okay. That's all right. I'm talking really fast. So while we're waiting for that to come up, I will say to you that what I'm going to demo, this is basically what you're going to see now is this is the nutritionist in real life. This is how I eat. This is how I live. I work full time. My husband is retired. He does not cook. No way. So, what you're going to see before you is, came from my house, came from my kitchen. So we're going to do overnight oats. We're going to do a spinach quinoa garbanzo salad with orange sesame dressing. I'm going to just show you some healthy snacks, and I'm going to show you some quick and easy things that you could use for meals. Okay, because the idea here is quick and easy, right? All righty, so I'm going to take you off of the PowerPoint, and I am going to start with my demonstration. So, all right, it's coming. Yeah, so go ahead and, yep. The PowerPoint. Yeah, that's okay. I didn't communicate very well with my team, and they're trying to read my mind, which is challenging. And so the slides can come down now. Yeah, you can stop sharing. It's not letting you stop sharing. Okay, so Nick, if you can hear me, it's not.
Yeah. I have you spotlighted, so.
It's.
Are you?
Okay. So
Are you?
can you?
I can see
the table and everything.
Yes, I spotlighted you, but let's see if I can.
Okay. All righty. So I just won't look at the screen, but my screen, I'm looking and I can't see anything. So, all right. As long as you can see me, you can see the full table in front. Yes.
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. So I'm going to do overnight oats, and some of you may be really familiar with overnight oats and some of you may not. The good thing about overnight oats is that they're really easy. So some people just do one jar at a time, not me. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do usually 4 jars at a time because it lasts, right? Today, what I'm
sorry to interrupt. Some people are seeing only the slides, so let me see.
It won't let us stop sharing, apparently. Yeah, I can see it on the screen.
Let me try and I'm gonna take away your host and I will put it back. Let me try to see if
Okay.
that will work.
Okay.
Okay. I think I got it. So
Really? Okay, because
yeah,
all I see is the screen. So
yeah. So
okay.
folks, are you able to see Sarah now? Somebody
Yes,
can let
just
me.
touch the small screen and it'll enlarge.
Yeah, so if you're viewing, you can change to the speaker view by clicking on the little icon. If you're on a PC, it's on the top right
Yeah.
of the
Okay,
video, and change your view to the speaker view.
Okay.
I think we're good. Go ahead, Sarah.
Okay. All righty. So overnight oats. We're going to do overnight oats. And overnight oats are simple. And as I was saying, that I usually make four jars at a time. You do a jar, a little pint jar, and it's easy peasy because this is the oats. I'm using old-fashioned oats because they have more fiber. If you're using the instant oats, they have less fiber. Yeah. And also these have no sugar in them. They're just pure oats. And oats are fabulous for the gut. And so I've got a little bag of oats here, and I'm just going to pour some to the jar. And, the jar has some measurements on it. And it's pretty loose, but basically, if I'm trying to get a good serving and I want to get a lot of other good things in there, I just do it to half cup. Let's see, are we at half cup? Looks like we're at half cup. All right. And so what am I going to add next? Because we are in pumpkin season, I am going to add pumpkin because this is really rich in beta carotene. And so here's my pumpkin. And basically, I'm just going to spoon a little bit in there. Doesn't matter how much. Just putting a layer of pumpkin in here. You say pumpkin and oats. Oh, yeah. Because this is going to taste like pumpkin pie when I'm done. And yet it's going to be a really healthy breakfast. Okay, so I've got some good pumpkin in there. Wonderful. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use pumpkin pie spice. You could use anything you want. You could use cinnamon, but I'm going to do some pumpkin pie spice. I'm just going to be pretty generous with this because, again, any of these spices are also really rich in, they're not rich in vitamins and minerals so much, but they're rich in bioactive components, antioxidants, and things like that. So I put a pretty good amount in there. And then I do want a little sweetness. So I'm going to use cranberries. A friend of mine came to visit and they brought me orange flavored dried cranberries from Trader Joe's. I do miss Trader Joe's. I don't miss the mainland, must say. Yeah. And so the cranberries do have some sugar in them. That is true, but this is the only sugar that's going to be in this. And how much do I want? I want a good layer. You can kind of see how that is. There. All righty. And then I could put in an apple. I have done that before. I could put in an apple. I could put in some blueberries as well. And I usually always have frozen blueberries on hand. And that makes it really easy to just take some and put some in a jar. But instead, I'm going to put in, I chopped up some pecans because pumpkin pie, right? So we have pumpkin pie overnight oats. So here we go. I'm going to put in some pecans. And then what we need now, you say, well, okay, this is great. We need some liquid. And so I am using macadamia nut milk, a nut milk. I like this profile. It's low in fat. It's low in calories. And basically, I'm just going to cover this jar. I'm going to cover everything with this liquid. I'm going to shake it down a little bit, cover it up. I'm going to put a little bit more because those oats are going to take it in. But before I stop, I'm going to add the two really powerful components for the immune system. One is flaxseed and the other is chia seed. Flax and chia. And so how much? You know, I usually put a teaspoon of each. And the chia especially, but also the flax, really high in fiber, as well as nutrients. And these are going to just blossom. They're going to soak up. They're going to soak up the liquid. And then I'm going to give it a good shake. And then what I'm going to do is I would put that in the refrigerator and overnight. Yep, overnight. Overnight, it would be ready. It would be ready in the morning. And some people actually like to eat it cold. I am not one of those kind of people. So what I would do is just take it and throw it into a bowl. It's kind of, it's pretty good sized breakfast, really. And I heat it up and yum, it's like having pumpkin pie. Isn't that right, team? The team had, yes, okay. All righty. So that's overnight oats. That's a good way to start breakfast. If you say, oh, I hate oatmeal, what would I have? So I did bring something else that's always in my household, and that is Kashi Go Lean. Kashi Go Lean. And this is a whole grain cereal. Why do I like it? It is also has some protein in it. So for breakfast, you don't want just simple carbs. You want a little bit of protein in that breakfast. And so this has 11 grams of protein per serving. The other something that I might have sometimes are these, it's called power waffles. And these power waffles in the frozen food section, and they've also got protein in them. So it's not just simple carbs. I had this with a little nut butter in the morning, and I got a great breakfast. Okay, all right. So moving along, we're gonna zip along and we're gonna go to lunch or dinner, whatever you would like that to be. And this is truly gonna be simple, simple. So the first thing before I get to that is I wanna show one of the things that I like to do is when I go shopping, I prep my vegetables right away. I come home, I wash my vegetables, I prep my vegetables. And if you're prepping for a salad, you can put everything in a big container with some paper towels, and that will be good for a while. It can last 3 to 4 days. So I like to use some cabbage. Here. And so for some cabbage, and why am I doing this? I'm actually, okay, could you guys just time how long this takes to chop this cabbage? And we're going to time this. So basically, all you have to do is just do a really rough chop. You really don't need to do a very fine chop. And this cabbage is going to be a base for other veggies to be added that then can be used in a salad. They can be thrown in a sandwich. Just throw these in this bowl. Okay, so if I was doing this at home, of course, I would do the whole head. But for demonstration, I'm not going to do that. I would always add some carrots in. And so just again, just a nice chop with the carrots. I use baby carrots. You say, really? Yeah, I do, because quick and easy, right? These are already washed, already trimmed. I do rewash them. I do that. But this makes it really easy. Plus these baby carrots really are great for snack. Yeah. So, okay. So I'm just chopping a little bit, and you can see I'm chopping 2 at a time, which, usually works well, unless you're demoing. Okay, so I'm gonna throw a little carrot, and then I'm also gonna throw some green onion in there. This is lovely. This is like picking it from your garden. Green onion is actually easy to grow. And if you notice over here, we have green onion growing. So, all right. So this was cleaned, although still had some dirt on it, but it was clean. And so I particularly like green onion. It could be any kind of onion. If you like red onion, white, yellow, it doesn't really matter. Onion is onion. It's just whatever you like. And so just prepping it, and we're going to add it to the mix, and we're going to use every piece of this onion that we can. And of course, it's going to roll around on us. That's the fun of it, right? Okay. Oh, I wish you could smell it. This green onion is very, 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 very fresh. It just, ooh, I'm getting hungry. Yeah. And of course, when I'm at home, I'm not wearing these gloves, which do make it a little harder, but it's all right. We can handle. All right. And so we're going to add that in, and not all of it's going into the bowl, but that's okay. That is okay. So you can see that we have a mixture, right? Okay, good. So I'm going to set that aside. I would normally add some cucumber as well, but since we're here and we're going to be talking about snacks, and usually I'm prepping all of my vegetables at once, I'm going to keep this aside, snacks, and then this cucumber, I'm going to just cut it into pieces that are easy to snack on. And so for me, it's going to be chunks like this. Now, I like to keep the skin on. Of course, you're going to wash it really well. And there we go. We got some cucumber. So these could be used for snacks. The cucumber is a little too wet to put in this here if I'm going to make this and have this for a couple days. So I'm just going to leave that out. Okay. And as I said, if I was going to store this, I would put some paper towel over it. I would put my lid on. This is an old Tupperware. This Tupperware must be about 25 years old. I would turn it upside down and change that paper towel. Really just change it once a day. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to do our salad. And so from the salad, how I'm going to do this salad is kind of easy peasy. Another bowl. I'm looking for my orange. My orange disappeared. Is my orange up here? There it is. It's behind me. That's why. Okay. All right. Yes, you are. Yes. Yes. And normally I would also add red bell pepper, but I don't want to run out of time. So, normally I would chop up the red bell pepper and add this to it. Yeah. And I would put some of it for snacks and some of it for salad. So I'll just put that there. So what I'm going to do for this easy peasy salad, it's going to be a hearty salad, is I'm going to make a dressing first. I'm going to take an orange. And if I wasn't pressed for time, I would grate the peel and add the peel to the dressing, because the peel has a lot of nutrients and it's also really adds a lot of flavor, just a lot of flavor. So basically I'm trying to show that this isn't hard. This is pretty easy. Okay, I'm going to use the other half. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add some quinoa. I'm going to use quinoa and garbanzo beans. And quinoa, why? Quinoa is an ancient grain that's very high in protein, as well as being a whole grain. And if you have diabetes and are sensitive to rice, which is metabolized really quickly, I would suggest that you substitute quinoa. So I'm going to put my they can't see in the bowl. So you could see that bowl. Yeah. Okay. So you can see my orange juice, and I'm going to just pour that into a little jar. And this orange juice is going to have sesame oil in it. Okay. And so how much sesame oil? Well, I'm just going to add a little bit. Probably about a teaspoon is all. And then I am going to add some fresh basil. See, I'm just taking it right off of this leaf here. Add a little fresh basil. Rinse it. You could add whatever you want. You don't have to add any basil, but I'm going to add just a little bit of basil. Okay. All righty. And so then there is our dressing. Okay. So for the salad, I'm going to use my plate as a measurement. And so how am I going to do that? This is cooked quinoa. I cook up a big batch and freeze it. It freezes really well. If you can see the quinoa there. And so the quinoa, the grain should go in one portion of the plate. Should be about half a cup. That's what that looks like. These plants are kind of getting in the way, but then there is the quinoa. And then I also cook up, I do use my slow cooker. And I cook my own beans. It's much cheaper that way. Doesn't take any time. And so this is the protein. It's going to act as our protein. It's going to be on this side. And then I cannot live without my spinach. Yeah, cannot live without my spinach. And so, you know, normally I would probably dry this off, but how much spinach? Well, I'm going to just show you because people will say, oh, half the plate needs to be vegetable, really? Well, this is half the plate. This actually is not enough spinach for me. I would not be happy with that. And then here's my mixture that I've made, you know, just in the beginning of the week. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it on top there. Okay. And then voila. So this is what it looks like as my plate. You can see that. And then what I'm going to do is, I just did that because people say, well, do you really ever use the my plate? Yes. Yes, that's how you use it. Okay. And then we got our dressing. And I probably don't need all this dressing. And frankly, that's just not enough greens for me. So, you know, it didn't have enough. Okay. And I'm going to pour probably not all of it on here, but just some of it. Mix it up. I'll bring it around and show you. Oh, it's looking pretty. You could use tofu, you could use chicken. You definitely don't have to use just plant protein. You could do any one of those things. You could use kale, you could use any kind of green that you like. And I'm going to bring it a little bit closer so you can kind of see it. But this is a pretty quick salad. Can you see? Yeah? Yeah. Good. Okay. I'm getting instructions. We can't see, we can't see. All righty. So that's a nice healthy salad. I would probably have more vegetables in there, to be honest, but okay. All right. That didn't take long to make, right? Quick and easy. I'm asking my team. What do you think? All right. So I'm going to move over to this other side and I'm going to share a little bit about some quick tips. Okay. Took 10 minutes. Took 10 minutes to do all of that. So yeah, okay. All righty. So I'm going to share some things that are healthy to snack on. So I see people saying, oh, I snack on potato chips and Doritos and I don't know, all those junky chips, right? So blue corn tortilla chips, or even just regular corn, look for something that's low in sodium. There is a brand called Late July that is low in sodium and also has seeds. Really, really delicious. You know, that is a good snack, and that could go well with hummus. And hummus is a bean dip, really a wonderful snack that has good nutrients and fiber, protein. You could also use whole grain crackers like Triscuits, or here's an almond if you're have gluten sensitivity. There's one, this one, I like this. This one is almond flour crackers. And any of those could go with hummus as well. You could use some of our vegetables that are cut up. You know, if you've already pre-prepped, they're all ready to go. You just throw them, if you're going to work, you just throw them in a container or a baggie and off you go. Take your container of hummus, right? Easy peasy and fast. Okay, you could also use peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter on any of these crackers, whatever you really prefer. Again, healthy fat. This is unsaturated fat and protein, two good combos. Then also, if you say, well, I get tired of that, here's a spinach artichoke dip. Some are yogurt based, and these are great for, again, your dips with your veggies or your crackers or your tortilla chips, any of those things. These are just really wonderful. It looks like I'm promoting certain brands, but these are actually what I eat. So dried fruit, here's our dried apricots. If you have a sweet tooth, like, aren't they pretty? You can have some nice dried apricots. Yeah. And then I say, you know, you could have a protein bar, right? If you're really on the go and you say, you know, I just don't have time for that, you could have a protein bar. I have two that I like. I like Zone Perfect bars. I think the key with a protein bar is that you're looking for 14 grams of protein. If it's less than that, it's really probably got too much sugar. They all do have sugar in them, but Zone Perfect is one that I like. And then the Kind bars are also can be good, but again, you want to look at the ingredients, right? Because most of them are nuts. I like the ones with the dark chocolate, which is healthier. Yeah. Okay. And so, all righty. And so I'm just going to say that if you're saying, well, okay, just some other quick ideas for meals is having some whole wheat tortillas. And these you could melt a piece of cheese on it. You could have some beans on here. You could have some rice on here. I always make a pot of rice at the beginning of the week, brown rice. You could add whatever seasonings you want, whatever flavors you want. You could put eggs in these. This could be a wrap for your veggies and your hummus for lunch. I mean, these are like invaluable. Yeah. And then there's cheese. There's a low-fat creamy cheese that goes well too. And then if you say, oh my gosh, you know, I'm really out of time, I don't know what to do, have some soup, have a low-fat soup, and add some of your veggies, throw it in there, throw in some spinach, make it a meal, right? Throw in some quinoa, make it a meal, is a soup base, but choose something that's healthy, that's low in sodium. And then the last is, you know, I just came across these, and then I'm gonna wrap it up a little bit here. But at Target, I found they had these pre-cooked bags. They were $1.39 or something. This is brown rice, lentils, and quinoa. This is Spanish rice, whole grain brown rice. Now you do need to look and see if they've added anything in there. Some of them do have sodium, some of them do not, but these are really easy. You just open them up and microwave them and add some veggies that are pre-prepped. Yeah. Okay. So, wow, I really spoke fast.
Yeah, 4 minutes for questions.
Okay. All right. And so I'm just going to say that I have some cookbooks out here. If you have questions, you can reach me. We're going to we're going to bring up the PowerPoint again. I also have some quick and easy tips that I can hand out to Nick that talks about just easy ways to make changes. And what else do I want to say? Okay, I'm going to just say that I spoke at you really fast, but we have cooking classes via Zoom. And if you're interested in those, we also have diabetes. We have a lot of different classes. We have a mindful eating class. We have nutrition classes, hypertension, diabetes. We have support groups. And so if you're interested in learning more about nutrition or getting support for health, please contact me. There is my email address. And I will get you to the right area for more information. Yeah. I also want to say that I work in the family medicine clinic and do one-on-one counseling as well, if you're interested in that. And then the health enhancement team, these are all the classes that we offer through health enhancement. We also offer different classes through traditional healing. All righty. So I spoke at you really fast. I know that Nick had to go really fast too. We covered a lot of things. What I want to do now is I want to take 3 deep breaths to relax. Okay. So let's all do this together. All right. Nice deep breath in. Exhale slowly and relax. Let's do one more. Nice deep breath in. Exhale and release. And one more. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, relax and release. Mahalo for your participation. It's been my honor to be with you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Sarah. Appreciate it. And yes, I know that was a lot of information, but we will be sending out more information after this program. I do have a couple of questions for you, Sarah. The first one was about the sugars, right? So, we talked about in the chat there, we talked a little bit about those holiday drinks, and Starbucks is, that's the thing, right? So some of the drinks are available in the skinny version or sugar-free version. So can you tell us a little bit about what those sugar-free things are?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the first thing with those I would find out what kind of sugar substitute they're using and see if you like it or you don't like it. In general, stevia and monk fruit are the natural sugar sweeteners, and I'm not sure that they're offering those. I think they're probably offering aspartame or Linda, that kind of thing. And to say, we don't have a lot of hard science on this, but we have some science suggesting that the alternative sugars are not good for the gut flora. And so we have, healthy gut flora, and we have some that's not. And it's not so great for the gut flora, and it promotes sort of the more unhealthy gut flora. So the bottom line is, is it better than having sugar? Well, you're not going to get the highs and the lows from it. So from that standpoint, you're not getting the calories from that standpoint. And I'd say moderation. All nutritionists say that, right? Moderation.
Right. Except for spinach.
Except for spinach. Like this is, we need a lot of spinach.
All right. Okay. I have another question about the overnight oats, which you sold me on pumpkin pie flavored.
Yeah.
But as far as the type of oats, somebody asked if you could use steel cut oats.
Aha. Yeah. Good question. So the steel cut oats, probably not, because they really do need to be cooked for a good 30, 40 minutes. So if you cooked a batch of steel cut oats by itself and then just cook them halfway and then did the overnight oats, that probably would work. Otherwise not. Yeah, that's a good question though. I love steel cut oats. Oh, excellent. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see. And we will be sending out the recipes that you did today, yeah?
Yes, I will
Okay.
provide those. Yeah.
I
yeah.
answered this one in the chat, but maybe you could add to it. There was a question about where to get macadamia nut milk. I find it at Target. I'm not sure if you have any other places where you could find that macadamia nut milk.
Yeah, so cost you less. Cost
Oh,
you
okay.
less. Yeah. And so they have a lot of wonderful milks there. Cost you less. Yep. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I keep forgetting about cost you less. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
I have a comment here that Starbucks does have stevia to add to your tea. So it's something
Excellent.
separate that you can
Good.
opt for. So that's cool. Thank you, Starbucks.
Yeah. I don't usually go to Starbucks, you can tell. Yeah.
I was going to say, is that
Yeah.
even on the
It's
nutritionist
It's
radar?
not my thing. It's not my thing. So I'm glad to know that you can get stevia. That's great. And then maybe they'll be offering monk fruit too. It doesn't have
Sure.
the bitter aftertaste. So
Oh, I see. I see.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, we have 2 minutes left. I just wanted to close up and say thank you again to Sarah and her team at Hui Malama Ola na Oiwi. For those of you who are not from Hawaii Island or not familiar with them, they've been around since 1991. This is our nonprofit Native Hawaiian healthcare. They do amazing work here. I do know there are similar programs on other islands. So if you have any questions about connecting to their partner or their sister agencies, please let me know. I also wanted to, again, give a shout out to AARP Hawaii for their support. They have a ton of caregiving resources. I will put some information in the follow-up email on how you can access those. So thank you again to AARP Hawaii. Any other questions before we close up?
Mahalo, Nick, so much for allowing us to be part of this. There is one question. I don't know if you covered it. It was from
Okay.
Miss Clara. She starts her day off with a 12-ounce glass of water with one
right.
cube of fresh lemon juice. Is that a good daily practice?
Thank you, Miss Hui. That absolutely, absolutely. So wonderful. With the lemon juice, a piece of, and I don't know, I didn't really show it to you, but yeah, putting some fruit in some water in the refrigerator and then drinking from that like throughout the day is great. But that's a great, wonderful practice. And I think I would just say, I hope you see that eating healthy doesn't have to be so complicated. It can be easy. Maybe it takes a little prep. And maybe the other answer is ask for people to help you, right? Yeah,
Or
ask
take
for
a
some help.
class, or take a class from Hui Malama, right?
Or take a class from Hui Malama and we'll teach you how. All right,
Awesome,
we covered
awesome.
a lot.
On the steel cut oats, I use it without cooking it. The only thing is that after it sets overnight, you will need to add a little more. I use almond milk.
Ah,
Oh, I
okay.
see.
Okay, that's a good tip. So good. Are they chewy? They must be pretty chewy. That's
never
okay.
had-
I'll try it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to try it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for your questions. Thank you,
All right.
everyone.
All right, everybody. Well, again, thank you, Sarah and the Hui Malama Ola na Oiwi team, and mahalo everybody for joining us today. Hopefully you got some tips on how to be healthier for your brain and, well, your whole body. So if you guys have any questions, please reach out and be looking out for an email from me with more information. So thank you again to everybody today. Mahalo.
Thank you, Nick.
Mahalo.
Thank you, Gail. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Okay.
Aloha.
Aloha, Gail.
Aloha.